Hey everybody, Mark Smith here, and I'm gonna get going with this AMA.
Hey guys, how we doing?
Hey, good. Hey, can you see my screen?
I can, yes.
Cool. All right. Well, hey, I'm just gonna get going. I don't know who all's gonna be here, but hey, recap from last week: crypto market update, Clean Connect marketing update, Prove Zero marketing, Prove Zero technology Q&A. So, just a recap. We do have this Vimeo.com showcase Prove Zero. You can go to that URL, and all of the previous AMAs are in there, including last week's, which was a Crypto 101 done by Matt Merrill, which was very cool. If you want to know more about crypto and 101, that is a great video to go watch. Let's see, crypto market update. So the fear and greed index, it's moved to the left. To be honest, it's moved quite a bit. It was up here almost halfway. Now it's back down. Stream fear. Overall, ETH has gone down in the past month. Okay, so it's down around 1552. I think a couple weeks ago it was around 1800. So it's and most people are saying it's very closely tied to the Nasdaq QQQ. SEC is increasing inquiries as they consider regulation. Interestingly enough, like the SEC keeps, and Congress and everybody, looking into, how do we prevent crypto fraud, right? And so they're looking into, and I think all these different agencies are looking in to see who's going to regulate this. Is it SEC? Is it this? Is it that? Is it going to be is it a commodity? Is it a security? What is it, right? And so, increasing looks at that kind of stuff. So I think you're going to see way, way more projects focus on everything they can do to be compliant, because nothing is fun if you get a whole project going and then you have to spend a bunch of money just to defend yourself. So I want to talk about a couple of automation funnels that we have going, and kind of show you some of those things. So we launched in the Autonomous Eldar this week, and it's really what I call an edu marketing funnel designed to attract new prospects and convert them into a strategy session with a Clean Connect salesperson. Strategy is getting someone to schedule their own sales call is a high indication of interest. Also generates qualified leads for the sales team. We're going to launch that this week. Another one I'm talking about, it's sort of proof of concept and going back and forth on it, is an edu marketing funnel to sell a paid membership. There's pros and cons to this approach. Getting someone to pay to get in early is an indication that they'd be willing to buy tokens at launch. Also, if they fill out their name, address, credit card, it's like a mini KYC, which I do believe is going to become a thing over time. So with a get prove zero, one idea would be in a proof of concept to actually build out a funnel and get people to come through as a membership, and then eventually be able to sell an NFT that could be done through a DApp that we're creating, which would be cool, because there's a lot of things you can do with an NFT that is harder to do with a token. So for example, you could have a basic level membership. They get in, they get some training, they get whitelisted, inner circle, maybe they pre-buy some tokens, things like that. So I'm seeing more and more NFT type launches where it allows you to build value behind the membership. This ERC 721 standard allows you to build a smart contract, communicate, and eventually the NFT itself has value that can be sold on other exchanges. It's an asset. So I'm going to share my screen. There's a project that I use, or a program that we use to simulate funnels before you build them, so you can design them out, and then kind of get an idea for what they'll do. So in the autonomous LDAR funnel, so this funnel again is designed to sell a concept. Okay, so this is a really differentiated thing, autonomous LDAR, and I have a whole video here that we built, and this is actually the webinar that we got to try out with the Darcy partners. Darcy partners, like the Gartner Group for the oil and gas industry. So I got to try out this concept of autonomous LDAR. It worked. It's generating leads, very qualified leads. And so what this software does, it allows you to sort of build out a funnel. So like an opt-in page has a video, they go to a calendar scheduler, there's a confirmation video here, and there's a follow-up sequence to get them into a discovery call, sign an NDA, do a deep dive, go through a proposal, sales page, and order form. The typical order, like an initial pilot for CleanConnect, is about 80 grand, okay? And then if they don't opt in, they go through some retargeting and try to get them back into this funnel. If they do opt in but don't do the calendar, we have follow-up email that goes to a series of nurture videos. And the nurture videos deal with the various steps that you need to do to actually achieve autonomous LDAR. So one of them is, setting up the equipment and getting the initial setup going, which I explained in the video. Another one is, hey, differentiated gas. You want to actually earn a methane performance certificate. Here are the steps you need to do and how we help you automate that. Third one is an ROI calculator that we have that shows you how to plug in your values for your site and how you can show return on your investment. So again, all of these are designed to kind of move you, get you pre-framed so that you go, dang it, I want this thing. Let me schedule a meeting with a salesperson. And so anyway, we're going to be launching that this week. Cool thing about this software, allows you to simulate. Okay, so you can play around with traffic. Okay, so you can say, hey, I've got different sources of traffic like email, podcast, LinkedIn ad, Facebook ads, how much you can pay per click, things like that. Same with retargeting. So anyway, that gives you an idea, and then you can design it out and go build the thing. Okay. I've done something similar with Get Prove Zero, where I've designed a basic idea that you come in, you have a video that plays, okay? And by the way, we have a special kind of video tool that's really super cool. It'll start playing, it'll come on mute, they click it, it goes back to the beginning, and then it has a play gate. So you can actually start watching the video, and then at a crucial point, you can say, hey, give us your opt-in information to continue, and I'll give you this, that, and the next thing. So if they opt in, you get their name, you can immediately use a Zapier to put them in Zoom, Discord, HubSpot. So like the Zoom AMA, and then they get an Prove Zero thing. On the sales page, it upsells a different membership ID, like the basic one, and then you can upsell them on like the inner circle. Either way, they would go into a training site where you have basic training on Crypto 101, Energy 101, how Discord works, how, this, that, all the stuff that people need to know in order to succeed with this thing. Okay. So you have both the AMAs, which would go into the training site as content, plus new specific short videos that would explain how everything works. Okay. And cool thing about that is, let's say that they came in through a basic membership, you can put a button on there to do a one-click upsell. So if they've given even the basic stuff, it sends them back into the upsell page. They watch the video. Yes, inner circle, I want to click a button. We already have the credit card and everything else. So we're collecting all this stuff. So super cool. Actually, not that hard to build out, to be honest with you, technically speaking. So anyway, again, you can simulate this and play around with different traffic ideas. But one of the cool things we can do here is it becomes a self-liquidating funnel. So meaning the money you spend on traffic, you actually can make back in your memberships. So anyway, that kind of gives you some of the idea there about some of those funnels that we're looking at to experiment with. So on the technology side, we are working on an application that will allow purchase of Proof Zero tokens and future NFTs using fiat currency. And we're just going to believe that that's going to make it a lot easier to attract and onboard people who are new to DeFi, decentralized finance, and Web3. The key technology, one of the enablers is Elevate to work with the Circle platform, that's USDC. They use the API platform to leverage their USDC and fiat system. And right now we've just turned in a flow of funds document to Circle, and it's being reviewed by Circle compliance team for approval. So anyway, I'm kind of excited about that. That would be pretty new because most projects you get into, you got to have some Ethereum and your wallet and things like that. So I think the other thing too is as far as the usage and utility, we're going to take care of a lot of that stuff behind the scenes. So our end users, like the oil and gas companies, we're going to essentially use tokens as gas fees to run the whole thing without them having to know anything about how this stuff works. It's just going to be part of our SaaS package. All right. So with that, I will stop the share and take any questions that people might have. And Matt and I were talking ahead of time about all this stuff, and it's Matt's job to tell me that my crazy ideas and poke holes in them. So anyway, Matt, if you want to jump on and poke some holes.
That is my favorite thing to do. And then same thing on my end. I'll be like, hey, check this out. And Morgan will be like, well, what about this? I honestly don't have anything too crazy to say. As far as development stuff goes, we're still in the process of getting a pen tester to come through and actually pen test our contract. That's different than an audit because a pen test, a penetration test, actually exploits your contract instead of just making sure that you don't scam somebody with the contract. So I'll be very excited to give more updates as that's further along.
And that's the big idea there, is that if you get somebody who's really good at breaking code, to break your code before you launch it, then your chance of it getting broken after launch is greatly reduced.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm pretty good at breaking my own code, but that's not the pen test. That's just me being a bad programmer sometimes, but this will be an intentional tool test. So,
and there are companies that do this, and I think we're hiring one of the top ones in the whole industry, right?
Yeah, we've got Certic lined up for an audit, and then we actually have 2 independent pen testers. One of them, I won't say who they work for, but they do work for a very reputable company. And I've actually have previous work experience with them at my prior job as a cybersecurity consultant.
Right. Okay,
Yep.
Cool.
So they're extremely well versed. I think one guy's got 5 years experience in Solidity and 20 years in pen testing. So they're rippers for sure.
Yep. Yeah. And again, we're trying to make it so, the way that from the utility side, the oil and gas companies, they just see it as another, in the Proof Zero, there'll be a set of features in there, right? You get your energy certificate. So all that stuff happening, gas fees, so to speak, using the Proof Zero token would just be all invisible to them. Okay. They want to take that data and produce an emissions inventory. It'll be another feature, right? So we're sort of baking that in.
Yeah, and then Susan says she likes the process tool. Agree, making it easier for clients to utilize the service without having to learn crypto themselves will move more clients a lot faster. 100%. It's been a little bit of an interesting juggling act over the last couple of weeks, working with regulators and the company that we're partnering to do this. But I think they just, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure they just approved our proposal.
Well, no, okay. So where we're at is we went back and forth between, our dev team, their dev team. They put it into a format that they submit it to their compliance. So we have not heard back from Circle's compliance.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
But yeah, so once we get that all locked in, then we should be good. And honestly, like, this applies to Prove Zero specifically because it allows us an easier way, but this may also be a very solid, just service in general that we're creating. So I'm very excited.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's the big idea, right? Is keeping up with compliance, doing everything we can to be compliant, right? Number two, partnering with clients who have that same modus operandi. Circle being probably, I mean, listen, Matt, you dealt with a lot of these companies. Circle's probably the most compliant thing I've ever seen, right? I mean, compliance is off the chart important to them. So, if you partner up by using their APIs and platform with the most compliant stablecoin company to date, I think that will help us stay compliant. Number two, it's pretty clear to me that I think Circle's going to end up achieving what Ripple tried to do, and they'll do it in a very compliant way. That's the reason why BlackRock, the biggest institutional investor, just put another $400 million into them. Kevin O'Leary put a bunch of money into Circle as well, mainly because the thing that Ripple did, they never registered with the SEC. They didn't do any of that stuff, and then they really went after, hey, we're going to go after SWIFT and replace international money transfers, which happens to be a big deal to the government. Circle on the other hand said we're 100% compliant. We're a stable coin, but what's it's ending up, its role in the market is exactly that: international money transfers without needing to do any. So you're going to see there's USD to dollars. That's the obvious one, right? It's pegged to the dollar. But now there is now a stable coin from Circle for euro. So you just got the number one and the number two currency. Okay. I could see them working down stable coin for euro, stable coin for whatever's number 3 and 4. And eventually that's it. You can do USD to USD, any currency, and you're done. Transfer fees are almost non-existent, instantaneous, reconciliation of transactions. And so that's good. So for us, again, we're using it to try to minimize what the hoops that somebody needs to go through to interact with Prove Zero, both as a utility and as an investor, so to speak. All right. Oh, let's see. A couple Q&A. Circle is the government's path into the space. Kind of. That was one thought. Although, Matt and I were talking beforehand about them announcing their own sort of interbank transfer system. Whether that will be as these, look, every government is going to launch their own stable coin, probably a CDBC, central bank digital currency. I think some would rather, and maybe Circle would hope that rather than come up with their own stable coin, they would just use Circle. That would be nice, right? And there's actually bills on both sides going through right now. Congress, one saying, we don't need our own central bank digital currency. It should never happen. Let's just use what the market delivers, something like Circle. And then another one saying, no, all crypto that doesn't come from the government's bad. We need our own stable coin. So Jamie says, excellent work. Oh, that's nice. Still having the global currency battle. Yeah, there always will be that, right? So there's IMF, International Monetary Fund, the World Bank. They're all trying to get in on this as well, and having, for example, a stable coin based on multiple currencies, sort of like a basket of currencies. And I think Russia and China are pushing for that, because they try to push to get off the dollar standard. And of course, Russia and China would like to say, yeah, why don't you all trade in our currency? And most countries are like, no, thank you. Russia, of course, being the exception right now, where everybody's having to trade Russia energy in rubles because we forced them off the US dollar. And now they're saying, all right, you want our stuff, which most of Europe is forced to use right now. The ruble is probably sitting at an all-time high. What about the certification that you guys have been waiting on? Any update? Oh, you're talking about like the energy one. Yeah. So the AIM certification. So that's Colorado's Alt AIM certification. So we got it through Colorado. So now what Colorado is doing is they're preparing a public package that will go probably next week. And then it goes through, unfortunately, 6 months of EPA review. So good news, bad news. Bad sort of thing is, waiting, for the EPA to review it. Good news is this may be the first time EPA will actually approve anything, because a lot of companies have attempted to go directly to the EPA to get what's called the AML certification, and nobody's gotten it. And it's a black hole. Now, since we got through and they're the first and only to get this Alt AIM certification, now the EPA is forced to review it. And if they do beyond reviewing, actually approve it, we'll be the first and only EPA approved as well. So we may have gotten a bonus approval out of all this. What will happen is Colorado's going to put a public package for review up there, and as soon as we get it, I'll send a link to it so it'll be like a summary of our application. It'll have Colorado's comments on the top, and which will say, hey, these guys submitted this application. It's approved as far as we're concerned. It's now going through EPA review. So anyway, that is what Alt AIM is. So it's good. The clients that were waiting for us to get it have now seen that we've made the progress and they're moving ahead. So one of our clients, in fact, is starting to scale up now because of it, which is good. and we'll be then educating the market on what it means, because a lot of companies, they think, okay, Colorado's tough, certification from them must be great. What all does it mean? So in fact, I've got a podcast launching with FLIR. I did it with FLIR. And we kind of did a little bit of, it'll be one that I totally recommend everybody watch. So it'll probably going to break it into 3 episodes. I could, do the full 30 minutes so you guys could see it before anybody else sees it. But it is what's great about the interview with FLIR is they go backwards and they have a timeline, and they say, hey, we've been trying to do this autonomous LDAR thing for years, but Clean Connect is the first one that's really nailed it. And so it's sort of FLIR endorsing our autonomous LDAR project and kind of coming together on it. That's why that podcast at the end, the call to action is, hey, want to know more? Go to autonomousldar.com, which will be that funnel that I just showed you guys. So that will be that. Any other questions?
And that will be available on your Digital Roughnecks podcast, yes?
Yeah, so that'll be available on, so I'll be posting it in several places simultaneously, probably tomorrow. One on my LinkedIn. So if you haven't connected me on LinkedIn, that's a good place. Number 2, it will be on the Clean Connect website. So when you go to Clean Connect, you click on it on the top, it says Digital Roughneck Podcast Archive. And so it'll be there. It'll also be on YouTube. It'll be syndicated to all the podcast channels. But what I could do, if you want, is post the raw interview that's not chopped into 3 sections and just stick it in this. In fact, I'm going to do that. I'll stick it in the archive for Prove Zero, so it'll show up in the gallery. So you guys will be right there, able to click on it and watch the whole thing unedited. And so you'll be seeing it 3 weeks before everybody gets to see the full 3 episodes. So there you go.
That's awesome. Behind the scenes and ahead of schedule.
Yeah. So Jamie asks, so is Eldar technology being used now, just not autonomous? Yes. So I know for the energy folks, Eldar is a pretty common term. It means leak detection and repair. That's that category that we're in. It's required by EPA. Every single oil and gas company, pretty much everywhere in the world, has to do it. Okay. And so what's new is we are the first to do autonomous Eldar. So today, everybody they generally use a FLIR camera, manually, handheld, go around sites. And the EPA requires you to do it every 6 months, soon to be every 3 months. Colorado had already moved to monthly, and then on new sites continuously. So Colorado pushed the envelope to the point where it became impossible to do it manually. And so we came up with this autonomous method where it's, mounted, and we do the tour stops, and then we're just getting smarter and smarter and smarter to eliminate false positives and negatives, and deal with all that stuff, all that technology. But yeah, so that's what it is. Everybody, in fact, the whole FLIR episode is about even comparing, because remember, FLIR is a key player on manual Eldar, right? They are the key technology. So by them doing this podcast with me, they're declaring to their audience, hey, this is where the S curve is for adoption of manual. Everybody does it. But the new wave, the new next technology has started. It's called autonomous Eldar. It's still FLIR. But the key is you need software, this Clean Connect technology software to do it. So we're in on that too. And so as people start to migrate from manual to autonomous Eldar, we're going to get out there with that message and do that. And then to have the certification from the government to say, we certify that these guys are the first and only company to do autonomous Eldar. Now, the government doesn't call it autonomous Eldar, we do, but people get it. That's that terminology, that category, marketing category that I used with the Darcy partners, and it stuck, it worked, right? So at some point, we get out there with enough marketing, and people, when they say autonomous Eldar, in their mind, it will equal Clean Connect. Cool. Any other questions? All right. Well, if I don't have any more questions, I'll end this session now. And typically these are running about 30 minutes anyway, so it might be a good time to change that. Again, I'll have this as soon as Zoom does a recording. I'll put it into the archive, along with the Digital Roughnecks podcast interview with FLIR talking about autonomous Eldar. So thanks for everybody for being here, and all those who are watching, not live. Thanks for being here.
Great talking with you guys.